All right, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hope everyone's doing well. Today is June the 20th. It's Friday today. Hope everyone had a great day off yesterday. As for the markets, we do have quad witching today. If you guys don't know what quad witching is, we do have major expiration on a lot of the asset classes. We'll talk about this here a little bit more in a second. As for actually the overall markets, we end up pushing down in towards a very key area on the higher time frames. And now you can see we're actually green coming to market open. So we had a pretty big drop, about a 1% drop in the overnight and in the future sessions. The futures were open, and then you can see we're right back in towards really our previous day's range here on the major indices. So I'll talk about this here in a second. Good morning, everyone. What's up? Good morning, B Roots. Good morning, JT, Yogi, KO, YY. Good morning, Martin, AD. Good morning, Monty, Ryan, Katrina, Audrey, Chris, Robert, Josh, Damian, Wayne, Darth, Ashley, Daniela, Daniel, Carlos, Jen, Smart, 2D, Cupid, Steven, Flying Martin, Relative, Kuta. What's up? Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. Let's dive right into the major indices, ES and NQ, and then we'll go over some of these tech names here as well. So first things first, let's actually go on to the higher time frames and remove all these drawings. You can see really lately we've just been kind of consolidating this general area for the ES. I am still very much bullish. I do want to see your all-time highs, right? That's our main objective. That's our main objective here on the major indices. Currently, we are defending our key levels. So if we go back onto a lower time frame here for the ES, we're actually defending our key level being this 5980. You can see overnight, right, our overnight session that we end up gravitating towards, we end up taking out this level of liquidity here for the market. So you can see now we're bouncing. We're just bouncing off a key level support here on the overall markets. Now I like to see this push back up and towards where our all-time highs, right? Our all-time highs being number one, our first key pivot level, and then eventually our all-time high. So as you can see, the markets are bouncing off our level right back in towards basically equilibrium. So for the ES, the levels that I do have drawn out coming to this market is number one, our 5990. We have other levels here as well, which is our 6300, sorry, our 6030, along with equilibrium basically being our 6050. So these are the levels I have coming to today. Stream disconnected. Yo, can you guys hear me? It should be back. I have no clue why my stream's been doing this lately. Yeah, I figured. Yeah. It should be fine now. I'm not sure. It says it reconnected here. Let me see. It should be good now. Let's see. Good. Yeah, I don't know why it does that. It's just like cuts in and out. That's kind of annoying. Actually, I always say I'm gonna restart my internet, but I actually haven't restarted. It's not my internet, it's my my modem or my mesh network. Yeah. Sorry if it does that. I think now you just have to reset it. If you reset it, it should be fine for the rest of the stream. But coming into this morning, key levels that we are going to have is going to be this 6045 key level along with your 6028. So your 6028 is going to be key. If we can reclaim this level, we can see a push back up in towards your, and then that pops up as well. That's funny. And we can see our push up back up and towards our 6068. If we end up rejecting off this level, right, we're just going to see a push back down in towards our gap that we created, a very small gap here in the markets. If we go into the SPY chart, key levels that we have coming into today, we can actually mark out your previous day lows here as well. I actually got rid of this level, but now it's still valid. So back onto the 15-minute time frame, key levels today is going to be your previous day lows. What we would like to see is the reaction that we have off your 597. If you can reclaim your previous day lows, we can see this nice push back up in towards our 598 here on the higher time frames. That's going to be key, basically just a reclaim of your previous day lows, 598. If you end up rejecting off this level, right, I'm actually not bullish. So the overall markets, if we reject off your 597 and push back towards the downside, we could be looking for a short underneath your 597, but the overall markets, in my opinion, are still very much bullish until we have clear signs of weakness, which is a break on the higher time frames. I'm really not interested in shorts. I'm much more interested in buying dips for continuation higher. Yeah, if you can't hear me, it should be fine. You just have to reset your stream. But I guess anyone that hasn't, yeah, just reset your stream. If it's not working, you just reset it. Okay. For SPY, yeah. So those are the key levels I have for SPY. Now let's go on to the NQ. Similar thing if you go on to the daily chart, as you can see here. Daily chart very much still intact. Key levels that we have marked out is right, your previous pivot point. So you can see our previous level of resistance is now turning into support, and we're still holding this level. So if the markets hold this level, I do expect it to push back towards the upside. The only way I'm bearish is if we have a weak candle closure underneath our 21,800 and we continue back towards the downside. That's the only way I'm going to be leaning more bearish towards the downside. Start. Yeah, I just had to type it out. So we should be good now. For the NQ, yeah, key levels that we have is going to be your down close candles. So go back onto the 1 hour chart. You can see price just came back down in towards our double bottom, right? Key level support. We end up basically holding this level, if you want to call this, right? Ended up coming down and sweeping this level, right? Similar thing, right? Just double bottom here, key level support, holding, and now we're continuing to push back towards the upside. Key levels that we have marked out, 21,750. We also have our 21,850. That's the key level that we have marked out. You can see price pushed above this level, retested, and now we're continuing back towards the upside towards our next one, which is our 2200. So coming into today, this is really the area that we broke down from, our 2200. We can drag this over. What we would like to see here for the Qs coming into today, really the break in base above your 2200 for any sort of continued push back up and towards your previous day highs, which is your 22,060 for the overall markets. If we do reject this level, get back underneath, we can just see a mini mean reversion back down in towards our, really now it's going to be our pre-market pivot points along with our previous day close being your 21,946. If you go into the QQQ, you can see we're going to open up fairly neutral after a huge move in the overnight session. You can see we're only up about 0.16% here, whereas the overall market in the overnight session dropped 1% and then rallied 1% here now in the pre-market. So for the Qs coming into today, if we're looking at Monday's price action, you can see Monday's price action, Tuesday's price action, Wednesday. Sorry, this is Monday's. Monday's here, Tuesday, and then you have Wednesday because we had that day off. Now, you can see coming into this morning where we're going to have marked out here is going to be our previous day highs along with our previous day lows. What I would like to see for some more upside here now on the QQQ is really going to be the push back up in towards our 532. 532 is really the level we're going to have to reclaim. This is also your FOMC high here as well, right? After FOMC, we ended up having a pretty nice move, but unfortunately it happened in the overnight session. And now you can see we're bouncing, we're right back in the equilibrium. So for the QQQ, key level for me is going to be this FOMC high along with this FOMC low. What I would like to see reclaim back above our 533. 533 and a hold of your 533, we can see this nice push higher. As you can see currently, we are in the middle of the range, so it's going to have to do quite a bit. Other scenarios for the Qs, right? You could be looking for a trade up and towards your FOMC high. In my opinion, there's not too many levels to go off of. Potentially, we do have your Monday's lows, so we can mark out this level here as well. So you could be looking for the reclaim back above your 530.50 for a push higher. The best longs right above your FOMC high and a base for right continuation back towards the upside. So those are the levels I have for the major indices today. It's going to be your previous day lows here on SPY, along with the QQQ 530.50 and its FOMC high 531.70s. As for the futures, what do we have here? 22, basically our 22,000 key level. And then for the ES, it's going to be our 6044. All right, now let's go on to some of the tech names that we have coming into today. As for Tesla, let's go on to the 1 hour chart. So far, Tesla, as you can see, we're building up liquidity to both sides. What I do have marked out is this kind of trend line that's forming, right? This wedge pattern, this trend line that's forming on both sides of the market. What I would like to see now is the break above your previous day highs and hold. So this is the price action we have coming into this week. You can see we have multiple touches off our 327, Monday's lows, Tuesday's highs, Wednesday's high here as well. Now what I like to see is really the base above our 327. As long as you can maintain above this level, you like to see a push back up into potentially our 333. So that's what I have for Tesla coming to today. It's going to be the hold over 327. Other scenarios that we could be looking for as well is the break above our previous day highs for a push up and towards our 333. Besides that, that's what I'm going to be looking for. There always is a possible scenario, right? Reject off both these levels and we come back down for the gap fill if we do show, right, a lot of weakness within the first 5 to 10 minutes. So that's what we have for Tesla. As for Nvidia, this one of my favorite watches. It's still holding up compared to the overall market. Semiconductors has still been very bullish. It's just now consolidating and slowly pushing higher. Key levels that we can have marked out is going to be your previous day highs. So we can draw at this level and we can drag this one over. So if we remove all these drawings here and go back onto the 1 hour chart, you can see for Nvidia, we're gonna be setting up for a very big move soon. So if I have this drawn out, you can see for Nvidia, we're getting tighter and tighter after earnings, right? A lot of volatility, but now you can see it's getting tighter, the range here. So it's set up for either the break up and towards your all-time highs, which is going to be right 152 and above, or if we break underneath your previous day lows, we can see a little bit of a bigger push back towards the downside. But for me, I am still very much bullish. Higher time frames is still intact, so we're going to be looking for continuation higher. As for Nvidia, key levels that we do have marked out is going to be number one, your previous day highs. So we have a few levels, previous day highs along with your 145. So what I would like to see coming to today for Nvidia, if we do want to continue higher, is going to be the break above our 145.60s, retest and hold for this continued push up and towards our 146 along with our 147 here. This is going to be one of my main watches coming into today. If we do just reject off our 145, we're just going to come right back down in towards our 145 key psych. So that's what we have for Nvidia coming into today, along with next week here as well. Higher time frame still very much intact. If you go into the daily chart, just really quickly, sorry, we're kind of going in reverse here, but daily chart, right, key levels 148, and we also have right 152. So far, every dip has gone bought up on this name. Let's go on to Apple. Apple, the next ticker that we have here, you can see so far, really the overall market is dropping. Apple continuing to stay heavy. Every pop has been sold into. For Apple, key levels that we have coming into this week is going to be our 196. Our 196 pivot point, you can see this week, it really hasn't done too much. Very tight range in between our 198 along with this 195. I would be surprised if it did break outside its range for this week here on Apple. So not really too much to talk about. If it holds your 196, you can see this mean reversion back up and towards your previous day highs. Besides that, I'd much more be interested in the break back underneath our 196 for a push back towards your 195 and below. So that's what we have for Apple. As for Microsoft, this one's just going to continue higher time frames, very much bullish. Key levels that we do have is going to be your all-time highs, 480s here. So this is our flat top. You can see multiple touches. Monday's touch here as well. What we like to see here for Microsoft continuation, hold above our 480.50 for this continued pushback towards the upside here. As for Meta, similar thing, consolidation coming into this week. What we do have is Monday's highs and basically your Monday's lows. What we would like to see is the bounce off your Monday's lows for a push higher, or for continuation break above our 706 for this pushback towards the upside. So key levels 706 along with your 694. As for Google, this one had some news at the very end of Wednesday that ended up dropping this towards the downside. So if we go back onto the 1 hour chart, you can see for Google, the consolidation level that we had was our 178 along with their 175, and you can see breaking towards the downside. Now the key levels that we have marked out is going to be your last Friday's lows. So we have our last Friday's lows. This is the area that we can mark out, 173 for Google. If we can maintain your 173, we can see a push back up in towards your 175. But if we do stay heavy, get back underneath, show some weakness, you could be looking for the hold underneath your 173 for a push back down in towards your 172 and below. As for Amazon, similar thing, end up having a little bit of a drop here at the end of the session. Key levels for Amazon still just going to be right 212. You can see so far holding your 212. If we do reclaim back above your 214, which is the area that we dropped from, we can see a nice reclaim and push back towards the upside. If we maintain underneath your 214, previous day lows here is in play. Let's go on to the semiconductors. So the semiconductors have remained intact on the higher time frames. Nvidia, AMD, a lot of these other semis as well are still very bullish here. So if you go on to the 1 hour chart on AMD, we're just building up higher lows here. You can see higher lows are being built. Now, as long as we maintain above right key levels, in this case, it's going to be your 124, we can expect continuation back towards the upside. So for AMD, key levels that we do have marked out, go back onto the 15-minute time frame. We're still above our 124.50s. Now for AMD, this one very bullish here on the week if we're just looking at this week's price action, right? Monday, big push higher, Tuesday consolidation, Wednesday a little bit more consolidation here as well. What I would like to see is the reclaim back above your Monday's highs. If this is possible, we can see a push back up and towards your weekly highs, being your 130.50. So for AMD, this is going to be one of my main watches coming into this morning. Reclaim above your Monday's highs and hold for this continued push higher. So what I'd like to see, preferably a dip, reclaim, hold above your Monday's highs for a push back up and towards your previous day highs, along with your 130.50 here on AMD. So that's what I have marked out coming into this morning, right? Along with the other semiconductors, these are looking fairly nice. And then Netflix, not too much to talk about on this name. Key levels is still really good. You'd have to look at this on the daily chart, but you can see daily chart still very much bullish here on Netflix, right? We're above all-time highs. Every dip so far has gone bought up. Every down close candle has been respected. So daily uptrend here on Netflix. So yeah, that is it for the tech names. If I'm not mistaken, we do not have any red folder news, but we do have quad witching coming into today. So for the major indices, hold up. Yeah, for the major indices, by the way, if you guys do have any charts or any tickers you'd like me to go over, I'll go over them now as well. As for today, we do have quad witching. So someone asked, what is quad witching? So quad witching is when all the major asset classes are expiring. So whenever you're trading leaps, whenever you're trading futures, right? Futures expires once a quarter. We'll have right the major expiration dates. In this case, it happens today, right? Once a quarter. So if you're trading futures, right, those options contracts for the second quarter are expiring. If you're trading option leaps, a lot of times you'll have options expiring, right? When you're buying leaps, there's no weekly expirations. A lot of the leaps, they'll happen in, right? If you're trading far out the money, uh, you're going to be choosing expirations that happen, right, expire once a quarter. So these are the major expiration dates. And that's why coming into today, at least at the very end of the day, there's going to be a lot of rebalancing. So there's going to be a lot of rebalancing. So you can expect, right, volatility, like a crazy volatility that's going to do, right, 2 to 3 times its average true range in the last 30 minutes because everyone's looking to rebalance price, or any hedge funds or big institutions are just basically going to rebalance their portfolios along with their options as well. So if markets consolidate all day and we don't do too much, right, at the very end of the day, you'll see like huge moves that are about, as I mentioned, right, potentially 2 to 3 times its ATR and within a 30-point move. And it's just going to, right, go up, go down, and they're just going to look to rebalance price. So anyone that has any sort of positions or any sort of options expiring, right? Especially if it's at a key psych level. So something like Apple today, right? A 200 strike, it's a little bit more complicated, but a 200 strike is going to be very key. Right now, we're kind of far away from that 200 strike, but it's going to be expiring today. So let's say if they wanted to keep it under 200, right, they'd make it sure. But if they wanted to push price back up to 200, that's not out of the realm that they can push this back up to expire, right, in the money if they wanted to. Okay, let's go on to some charts. Coin. Yeah, let's go into coin and also circle as well. So currently, right, stable coins, a lot of bullish news. So that's why coin's pushing up here as well. You can see huge daily candle, about 16%, pushing higher here as well. This is a daily time frame breakout after consolidating. We talked about this one, right? Just kind of consolidating. Daily time frame breakout, really explosive move towards the upside. Next key levels, 310 along with our 350 towards the upside. So for coin coming into this morning, what you're going to have marked out here is your previous day highs. You're going to mark out your previous day highs, 297, basically your 300 key cycle level here as well. Right, any sort of dips on coin, you like to see this push back up and towards your 310 here and above. Of course, your best entry, previous day highs, lowest risk. Does seem like coin fairly bullish, potentially could just push up higher coming into market open. But those are the levels I have marked out coming into today. Palantir, it's showing huge relative strength in the pre-market. Would you need to go? Yeah, I would need to see either any sort of pullback on coin if you're bullish, right? You don't really want to chase. If it just moves higher, then it moves higher. But if you can have any sort of pullback down in towards your previous day highs, this would be super solid for a continuation back towards the upside. Lemonade. I'm not actually sure what this is, but you can see a huge breakout back in 2024 here. A lot of consolidation. Now we're finally starting to break out here. Again, key levels that we can now have marked out. 43. You can also mark out, right, this key pivot low, basically the area that we broke out from. So for this ticker, we're going to have to go into the higher time frames on this one, but key levels that we have marked out, just any down close candles. So far, we're just respecting down close candles. Now we can expect this one to push back towards the upside after reclaiming really the area that we broke down from, which is your 40 key psych. So we can just draw this out as long as you maintain above 40.50. Let's see if we can push back up in towards our 42.70s and above. All right, so for Palantir, this one's still very much bullish, as you can see here on the higher time frames. Next key levels that we have marked out for Palantir is going to be our 140. Our 140 key psych level, you can see we have multiple touches. Monday's low here as well. Now what we like to see is the reclaim, which so far we are doing that here in the pre-market, and hold above our 140 for any continued push back up in towards, it's going to be this 142 here and above. So that's what we have for Palantir, right? Levels are fairly clear, previous day highs along with your 140 key psych level. HIMS. As for HIMS, you can see so far daily candle close back above our 58. Now you can see we're trying to break outside of this daily downtrend here on HIMS. Key levels, if you go back onto the 1 hour time frame, I talked about this. Key level for me was our 58, multiple touches. This is the level I wanted to see hold. You can see daily candle, 1 hour candle holding above our 58, and now we're pushing back towards the upside here. So now for HIMS, I'd like to see the close above and hold the key level that we have marked out, 62. So this is your previous day highs. Also your Monday's high here as well. What I would like to see is the break hold above your 62 key psych for this continued push back towards upside, being your 64 psych, 65, and of course your 66. So that's what I have here for HIMS. As for what else do I have? Hood. So yeah, Hood very much bullish here as well. You can see we've been expecting Hood to gravitate up and towards, right, all-time highs. 85 is our main target. Now Hood consolidation after this news event that we had with S&P 500 where it didn't get included. So far, every dip has just still been bought up here on Hood. Now the key levels we can have marked out is number one, this high, 80, and then we also have this high here as well, which is our 7750s. So that's what we have here for Hood. Now what I like to see for Hood is the hold of your 7750s for continuation back up in towards our previous day highs and above, being our 80, 87 here on this name. This is going to be the key inflection point for me, 7750 at least coming into today for this name. As for a few other tickers, so yeah, Oscar Health, I'm not sure if it does have news, but it does seem like we're having a nice daily breakout here, most likely with news, and now we're gapping up once again. So key levels for this name is going to be back up and towards our 23. And we can also mark out other daily key pivot highs as well, which is going to be 2250s. We can also mark out a few other ones, 2160. So let's go back onto the 15-minute time frame here. You can see huge gap up. This is really where your previous day highs is. You have your pre-market lows, and then you have more touches here off your 2160. So what I would like to see here today is really that first dip be bought up for a continuation higher. Whenever you have these gap ups very far away from your previous day highs, a little bit of a trickier name to trade just because of this huge gap up. What you can just mark out is your pre-market highs and pre-market lows. So instead of using your previous day highs and previous day lows, you just box in, right, pre-market lows along with your pre-market highs and look for the reactions that you have off of these levels. So 2140s and this 2160s. Let me go over Circle. So Circle, this one, stablecoin, recent IPO. We talked about this one a couple times. I should have put more emphasis on this one. I haven't really been paying attention as much, but huge mover ever since holding this 105. Nice daily time frame, nice 1 hour breakout here as well. So nice hold above your IPO high. You had another base above your 145 here and then a push higher. This one also with other regulations regarding kind of stable coins. That's why this is pushing higher here with that major news catalyst. But this one, really strong break towards the upside here on Wednesday after holding above our key levels, breaking above our Monday's high here as well. Now what we have is your previous day high. So your levels of support here, previous day highs, 200 key psych level. We're also going to mark out our pre-market levels here as well, so we can draw out your after hours highs along with your pre-market pivot point. So key levels I have for today is going to be this 216. If you can get a dip down in towards your 216, that would be great for a push up in towards your pre-market highs. If it pushes higher towards your pre-market highs first, then I wouldn't be as interested in this dip. But really your levels of support here for Circle is 216 along with your 200 key psych. So those are the levels we have marked out, along with now it's going to be this pre-market high here as well. So any sort of dip along with right coin here as well looks really good. Coin key level, as I mentioned, 300 key psych, previous day highs is going to be your best area of interest. As for Circle, 216, potentially even your previous day highs, 200 key psych for Circle. As for ARM, yeah, a lot of the semiconductors here just breaking out here on the daily chart, holding up nicely. For ARM, key levels that we have is your Monday's highs, which you can see ended up holding. Now what we like to see is the break back above your previous day highs. So for ARM, nice push higher. Now what we're going to have drawn out is your previous day highs, break above your previous day highs and hold. We can see a push back up and towards your Tuesday's highs, 149 here. All right, let me scroll down. Let me go over a few more tickers here as well. CRWV. So as for CRWV, you can see every single dip, similar thing, right? IPO. I definitely sold way too early on this name, but as you can see, key levels. Now the next level that I do have is really your 200 key site, but you can see every dip so far getting bought up. Now you like to see just the hold of your 166. So if I go back onto the 1 hour chart, 166 hold, which is now just going to be your previous level of resistance. Now you like to see turn into support. So for CRWV, multiple touches off your 166. Now that we're above your 166, you like to see a hold and continue higher. You can see so far for Wednesday's price action, holding your 166, break above your 176 is going to continue the trend back towards the upside here on CRWV. Okay, let me grab some water here. What's up, everyone? Good morning. Oracle went over that. Actually, I did not go over Oracle. Thank you. You don't post much on yeah, I haven't posted much on Instagram or TikTok. Just the content I was posting, I didn't really like it as much, and I don't really find it that educational. Those platforms are just more entertainment. Anything that I do post is, I mean, the meta nowadays, yeah, it's just the TikTok and Instagram. Those ones are always just short form. Short form just had nothing to do with education whatsoever. As for Oracle, key levels that we have is now, right, just this consolidation. So we're kind of flagging here on the daily time frame for Oracle. As I mentioned, what I wanted to see happen was this 1 hour kind of base higher. And then once we finally break, we're going to have a nice explosive move back towards the upside. So as you can see here for Oracle, now we're kind of consolidated for 3 days in a row. The levels I'm going to have marked out here is now going to be right number 1, 216, and I'm also going to mark out your previous day highs. I don't really like the fact that we have right these pops that are being sold into, but now what I'm going to mark out here is just going to be right our 5-minute range. And what I would like to see, right, 5-minute range, break above and continuation back, potentially towards your previous day highs and above here. So for Oracle, as long as we maintain above your 210, which is a very key level, we like to see a push back towards the upside, being your 214 here and above. As for a potential entry model, let's go back onto the 1 hour chart. This could either break out today back towards the upside, or we can consolidate for one more day and potentially break out next week. So for Oracle, you have this daily downtrend along with your 1 hour downtrend here as well. What I would like to see is one of two things, right? You're going to go for the low risk, which is going to be risking off your 210 for a push higher, or now you're just going to be waiting for the reclaim, right, above your opening range. You can risk off the low for this push back up in towards the highs here as well. So either way, Oracle, we're still very much bullish on this name. I could look to break out today if the market wants to reverse back towards the upside, or it can consolidate and then potentially look to break out next week. Either way, you should still be very bullish on this name and look for major dips. My circle 165 swing is going to make me happy. Nice. Yeah. Circle, absolutely beautiful. Whenever you have names like this that have daily time frame breakouts, these are the best names to trade because they're in clear trends. And now you can see, right, another gap up here on the overall markets. And you can see it went from 165 from this daily breakout all the way. It's almost up 40% in one day, which is absolutely crazy. That's why coin is pushing higher here now, just because, right, circle, I'm pretty sure processes 50% of their transactions go through coin. So coin is a direct sympathy for this move to move higher here as well. Are you scaling your account or you keep at a certain range? Yeah, a lot of times I just keep it at a certain account, a certain range. So whenever I get it past like 100K or whatever my profits are for the month, I'll usually just look to withdraw them. MRX hasn't really been doing too much. I'm not sure if this is direct sympathy to a few other names here as well. If that is the case, right, key levels that we do have marked out is just going to be your 40, right? 40. This is just your weekly down. You could even mark it all the way down here, but really this one's still very much bullish. If I was to remove this, right, break, retest, I like to see continuation back towards upside. So key levels 40 along with all the way back down in towards your 37. As for Marvel, this one's breaking up in towards our daily gap. So as you can see, nice push up and towards this daily gap. Key levels that we do have marked out, let me just remove a few levels, is number one, our bottom of our daily gap. So you can see a little bit of reaction here on Marvel off your 75.80s. This is the level we have to see it get above and hold if we do want to see continuation back towards the upside. So key levels for me is fairly clear. Break and hold above your 75.80s for a push back up and towards your previous day highs here and above. If we get back underneath, there's a possibility that we could gravitate towards your previous day lows and potentially below if we break underneath a 74. But key level 75.80 coming to today. As for HUT, this is in, this is in the NASDAQ. This is a Canadian company, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe I'm thinking of something different, but a Bitcoin miner, or it has to do something with Bitcoin. Key levels for this name, you can see so far building up these higher lows, right? Higher lows are being built. What I would like to see now is the reclaim back above our 1740. So 1740, you can see multiple touches. Now what we like to see, break back above your 1740, push back up and towards 1840 here and above. As for Intel, just a lot of consolidation on this name. Intel hasn't really done too much. I usually always check up on Intel every once in a while, and it's just consolidating. It really hasn't done much ever since this big gap down that we had from August of last year. A lot of consolidation. We had a couple big moves with earnings, but not too much continuation. It just came right back towards the downside. As for Intel, once again, another kind of daily downtrend that we have forming. If we can break above here, we can see potentially a nice push back up and towards your 23 key strike. So for Intel, levels that we do have marked out is just going to be now, right, 2240 along with your 2280s. As for levels today, what you're going to have marked out is going to be your previous day highs. Previous day highs along with your Tuesday's highs that you can both have marked out. So we can have two levels, right, 2150. Let's see 2150 hold for this pushback towards the upside here on Intel. Okay, let me actually just go over my game plan and then I will get ready for market open. So coming into today, so overall, what happens is I'm very much still higher time frame bullish. So higher time frames, we've been bullish for every single dip has been getting bought up. We're expecting the markets to eventually gravitate towards your all-time highs. At least for trading this intraday, it just makes it a little bit more difficult because of the overnight session. And that's what's been happening quite a bit, is that we've had these huge moves in the overnight session. And by the time the market does open, we're right in between the range that we had established in its previous day, right? This is basically our previous day's range. We're about to open up in the middle of its previous day range. The best areas to buy is really down at these, right, higher low dips, right, down at your double bottom or your higher lows. If you look for, right, intraday trades, it just makes it so much more difficult because we've had these big moves here in the pre-market. So for the overall markets today, key levels I'm going to have marked out is going to be number one here on the Qs, 530. 530 is the level I like to see, right, break above hold for continuation back towards our FOMC highs. For SPY, key level is our 597 previous day lows. So far, you can see we're reclaiming your previous day lows. Now what I like to see is a hold of your previous day lows for a push back towards the upside. So that's what I have for the major indices, just the reaction that we have off those levels. As for the semiconductors, so very much still bullish here on the semiconductors. Top watch is going to be Tesla and AMD. NVIDIA and AMD. You can see really a lot more bullish than, right, the Qs, at least in the past 20 days, right? 20 to 40 days, you can see the semiconductors have been leading the way back towards the upside. So key levels for the semis is now going to be this 269. 269 is going to be one of our main targets for SMH along with our 264. So today it looks like potentially the semiconductors can break out. You can see multiple touches, one touch, two touch, three touch. If we can break above your 264 here on SMH, we can see a breakout on all the semiconductors back up and towards your 269. So semiconductors main watch coming into today. If we can break above your 264, Qs and SPY, I mean, we're still in this range, so I don't really expect too much of a breakout, but potentially if we can get above your FOMC high, right? Not really a clear trend in the past 20 sessions here on the QQQ along with SPY. So much more bullish here on the semiconductors. As long as the Qs and SPY potentially just head higher, I do expect the semis to lead back towards the upside. So pay attention. Any semiconductor that you have, AVGO, right? MU, TSM, all those ones, as long as the SMH heads higher, right? You can expect those ones to gravitate higher as well. All right. So that is going to be it for me today. If you guys did enjoy that, I appreciate if you guys drop me a like and sub. I also do have a free watch list in the description as well for anyone that's not in. Hope you guys have a great day along with great rest of the weekend as well. And I will see you guys all Monday morning. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of the weekend.